A very warm welcome to everyone who's joined us for this very special podcast interview that we have with Arash Pendari today. Arash is founder and creative director at Vion Labs. And Arash, you're joining in somewhere from Europe. Whereabouts are you?
I am in Sweden, Stockholm.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for making the time. We are speaking to the Vitrina community, which is more than 70,000 people across 100 countries, who are all folks who really care about the entertainment supply chain and all the innovations, new product launches, new content launches, and all the amazing work that a host of innovators and key sort of deal makers are doing, within the entertainment sector. You are, what we would consider as a very innovative company. Would love to have a quick intro about your journey so far, to get us started.
What a what a welcome. I mean, thank you. I'm happy that you see us as an innovative company. I mean, we see ourselves at least as people that are very passionate about what we do and been especially passionate both about the kind of AI part, but also the entertainment and media part, because I think especially working with content like storytelling and entertainment, it's important to take both the creative parts and also the technical parts when you're trying to create something that actually is working and getting AI to understand media and entertainment as we humans do by the end of the day. So yeah,
Fascinating, fascinating.
yeah,
And this is that phase that all of us are going through. Especially
yeah,
with all the revolutions that are that continue to happen in the AI world. So
yeah.
give us a little sense. Arash, one of the places that I love starting out with is an elevator pitch for the company. How would you introduce Beyond Labs on an elevator
Mm.
to someone from the entertainment
Yeah,
industry?
I mean, it's definitely my weakest side to try to explain what we do in a short amount of time.
Okay.
But I think the foundational part is that we wanted to kind of train an AI model and create a suite of products that actually was very fitted for the media entertainment industry, but also kind of could scale all the creative works we do and all the tedious manual work we have to do when we're trying to build services that are competitive like Netflix, and make it, democratize it, make it available for everybody that has the idea that they want to create an entertainment platform. And I think what we kind of did that actually is quite unique is have that part of from both worlds and also focus it quite a lot on very domain specific problems in very specific areas for the entertainment industry, instead of trying to do foundational models that does a little bit of everything, not so specialized, but very focused AI models that are solving very specific problems like generating amazing thumbnails and images for a streaming service or something like that. I
Fascinating.
hope that was a good elevator pitch because I'm really
No,
bad
no,
at those.
it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
It gave us a
Yeah.
flavor of what Beyond Labs does, and
Mm.
it's now drawing us into really trying to be more
Mm.
curious about what is it that you're solving for. So, tell us a little bit about your background, the team's background, and then also how did you start this off? When did you start off this journey?
So, I mean, my background specifically is I studied to work with special effects in movies and the gaming industry. Like I studied to make like particle effects, explosions, water, working in
Wow.
Maya, 3D Studio Max, those classic stuff, and got into Unreal Engine as an example quite a lot back in the days as well. Then, I mean, the team core specialists and like the people that we work with and our CEO, they're much more from the tech heavy side and kind of especially the machine learning side. And they have the expertise of kind of how to take the best of this world and make something out of it that is trained specifically to understand as a thing like how we humans perceive audio and video emotionally,
Right.
which is quite a hard task to do by the end of the day. So we have a little bit of mix of both worlds, but I always say I'm a failed movie maker. I always have these movie posters, and I always wanted to work in the film industry. But as I failed in that area, I did the second best thing as I saw it, which is working with the tech behind it. And the most fascinating part was, especially around like 2018, 17, when we started to work with AI, is that we found, of course, much earlier than that, the company was founded 2010, that there's definitely value in the video. There, I mean, everywhere from a color palette from a movie to the music is somehow affecting me emotionally. I mean, if it's the colors are happy, I'm feeling more happy. If the music has a upbeat tempo in it, I'm getting a little bit more, excited. So in those days, it was extremely hard to extract that information. So the more the AI industry developed and the more we learned, because we started so early, we did a lot of mistakes. 2018 started to build our first model before TensorFlow even were a thing. And then we kind of evolved that over time. Together with that, the hardware got better, the technology got better. We found new ways of extracting information from the video, from a perspective of, the video layer, so everything visual, but instead of training it specifically to find objects or some specific, tagging up like table, chair, house, we wanted it to understand a storytelling, and that was a little bit more complex. So I'll show you some of that throughout the rest of the demo later that I was thinking to show a little bit of.
That's super interesting. And in fact, when you mentioned even the whole experience with Maya and creating explosions and just a lot of that magic that we see on screen, is that really where your journey started? I mean, in VFX and special effects and
Yeah, yeah. That's I mean that was my goal, right?
right.
So I started around like 3 years for that, and I jumped off the last year from the university to create my first company, and then try to go down the path of uh, you know, making something within the film industry. So yeah.
Got understood. And then some of the solutioning that you talked about, in Vion Labs, and I'm sure we'll actually sort of see some of those
Mm.
examples. Are those in the post production side? Are they on the visual effects side? You also mentioned thumbnails, trailers, and just
Uh,
creating, extracting exciting sort of you know exciting
yeah.
imagery and examples from content. Give us a little sense of within the supply chain, where exactly is your vision for Beyond Labs to play?
No, I think we're quite a lot. We're definitely not in the post production side.
Okay,
I mean, I think that's a totally different area to get into.
okay,
As I mean, especially when it comes to creative tasks, we are way much more focused on the user experience side and the media operation side. So basically helping everywhere from the product teams to make a better user experience by having access to more data and more assets per title. Like an example that I would always like to take is Netflix. I saw a presentation with them in Copenhagen. On stage, they presented that they had 1,000 assets per title. And with assets, I mean like thumbnails, smart short clips, the logo of the show, trailers, everything, so they can actually create a personalized experience. They can create a visually appealing experience because they have the foundation set, so their product teams doesn't need to concern that a movie might miss a poster or don't have a
hmm,
clip with the different actors, as an example.
hmm,
So there's definitely the product side. Then there's the marketing side. They have almost the same problem as the product side, right? It's all about packaging and also communicating to different demographics. So that's the part that we are focusing on quite a lot, and also a lot of where our background is coming from. And the media operations side is much more, I mean, I always call it like the factory works, things that humans have to sit to do and repeat all the time, like detect every intro on a TV show, detect
right.
where the credits are in every TV series. And then you have like a show, like a telenovela, a Latin American speaking, a TV show that has like I don't know, 1,000 episodes.
That's
Or
right.
you have an anime TV show that is like 25 seasons and around 30 episodes per season. Like to do that, I don't think that is task that should be done by humans. I mean, our job is definitely more within the creative areas. Well, I think that's exactly where we should use the AI and machine learning. And that's kind of the foundational theory we have, always kind of use AI and machine learning to scale our creativity,
Hmm.
not to replace our creativity or, take the creative decisions. A lot of the way we work is that by the end of the day, a human is still doing the creative decisions. So
Hmm.
this is a way of scaling their creativity. So instead of them handling one asset per day, they handle maybe, 300 assets per day, or they do
Wow.
batches of thousands of assets per day, depending on how much they want to do QC, quality controlling.
Fascinating. And there is a productivity angle. There is also an innovation angle. There is also a sort of marketing angle.
Definitely.
I'm sure one of the things that you're solving for as a consequence to the marketing problem statement that you talked
Mhm.
about is that there are so many different ways to promote content today, especially
Mhm.
with social media, right, and digital media.
Yeah.
And each of those require a little bit of different treatment and
Yeah.
a little bit of a different sort of presentation and packaging,
Mhm.
right? Is that
Correct.
also something that you sort of eyeing as an
No,
opportunity?
I mean, it almost, I was going to say, it almost feels like we're in sync with each other, even though we haven't talked about it. Because one of the subjects I really got into the other day, especially with, the big studios and everybody else, it's almost like the streaming services have stopped caring about product packaging, no matter
Right.
if it's marketing or if it's their service, because they just use the metadata they receive. The poster I get and the backdrop I get and the text I get, that is what I use. While if you look at any other industry, there's a lot of personalization being done to make sure
That's
that the
right.
right person gets the right packaging.
That's
And
right.
I think the industry didn't really follow best practices there like Netflix did. I mean, I don't want to talk about Netflix like they're, the golden ticket. I definitely think they have their flaws as well. But what I think they did right is that they
Mm.
started out with setting a foundation so they actually could experiment on the level of like, if you are interacting with a movie like, say, Pulp Fiction, and you're you know, not clicking on the poster when John Travolta is showing up and you're scrolling by the poster and you reload the start page the next time you visit it, most likely Netflix will shift that to Uma Thurman as an
Mm.
actress and to see if you click that. And if you click that, that is a definite signal of what you usually interact with. And that
Right.
information, I think, is what a lot of streaming services are missing out is not just personalizing because the thumbnail, the image is your gateway drug, right? I call it that because that is what's going to get you into it. Then the preview clip, the short clip that you usually see in Netflix, you
That-
click the poster and a small video plays or trailer. That
yeah.
is what gets you to engage. That's what gets you to push the play button. So to do those two steps correctly, is I think crucial if you're looking for getting engagement to going up. And one of the
Understood.
things I think, and I think you're from this age as well, like back in the days, if you remember, both when Nintendo just started and the back in the video games, you had this packaging that looked amazing.
That's
Like
right.
you took the video game, the front looked amazing, then you played the game and it looked like crap,
I
just
know.
pixel.
Yes.
2025, the customers want transparency. They want a window into what I'm going to consume. They don't want to be tricked by a marketing poster. Like there's a lot of examples. Like you have the American movie Independence Day with
Right.
Will Smith. Then you have a B movie that is copied exactly that movie. It's called Independent Day. And
Uh,
that has 2.8 on IMDb. And the poster is definitely tricking you to watch that or rent that because that's their marketing trick.
uh,
But I don't think this generation is like that. I mean, the people that grows up with TikTok and YouTube Shorts, they're consuming from the first second they open the app. So they have a direct window into whatever they're consuming. There's no extra layer before I start consuming content within media and entertainment.
Fascinating. No, there were so many angles in that we should unpack some of these for the listeners. Um, So there is clearly a very, very strong marketing angle with all the examples that you talked about. But there were
Mm.
two other crucial aspects that you mentioned. One is the ability to click into a new show just with the visual that you're seeing, or the
Yeah,
visual trigger. And then the second aspect is the short clip that you are essentially shown, you
correct.
call it engagement, that kind of draws you in and gets you to start then the episode or start the
Correct.
movie, right? Again, there is the promotional bit, there is the clicks piece, and then there is the engagement to
Yeah,
consume, from a preview. Right there, you talked about three solutions,
yeah.
uh, that Vion Labs sort of strives to maybe participate in,
Mm.
right? And who's your end customer? I mean, I think before you start showing us the demos and
Mm.
some examples of the work that you've done, who's Vion Labs pitching to? Are you pitching to streamers? Are you pitching to distributors, broadcos? Tell us a little bit about who your ideal clientele is.
I mean, we work with Plex TV as example. We work
Okay.
with Hulu. We work with Paramount. We work with a lot of the actual streaming services, but we also work with broadcasters like,
Mm.
ProSieben in Germany, or T-Mobile subsidiary in Germany called Deutsche Telekom, and that is more of a telco. So anybody that's actually sitting usually on a video library and they're trying to organize that library for different purposes, no matter if it's doing it for their internal editorial teams so they can make nice carousels, or it's actually have some really interesting use cases where they're using our data to make packages around different ads, so they can approach specifically around holidays. They can have this, romantic movies, then they filter those romantic movies on only joyful and happy, so they don't have any kind of violent movies in it, as an example. So they can do a lot of different things, but as long as you're sitting on a library of videos, especially the bigger the library, the bigger the archive, the more in need you are to organizing and structuring that, right?
Right.
So, but a lot of the people using it today is definitely people that have the whole kind of experience, the user experience, and the connection to the end consumers, and a lot of like telcos and some broadcasters out there.
And some of these folks that you talked about are clearly, maybe not even in the first window. Maybe they're in the
Mm.
third or fourth window, right? By that
Yeah.
time, the marketing and a lot of the other supporting material and the
Mm.
collateral to promote a content is already sort of pre-packaged. Talk a little bit about, like, are you
Mm.
regenerating some of this, or are you repurposing some of this?
I'm not sure I follow the question. So you mean regionalizing it, like making it specific for each region, or?
So, a couple of the platforms that you talked about, right, are
Mm.
AVOD platforms, right? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
and they are perhaps getting that content in the third or fourth window. By that
Yeah.
time,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
by that
exactly.
time, the promos and the trailers and a lot of the metadata and the
Mm.
collateral in that promotes the content
Mm.
is already created. It's pre-created.
Yes and no. I mean, when you're licensing content, it's almost like I would say like the whispering game, right? Depending on how many middle hands you have, you lose a little bit of everything.
Yes.
Somebody decides they want to do their own posters for the region, depending on
Oh,
distributor. And at times, I mean, if you're lucky, you usually get the movie poster, you get the trailer, and if you're super lucky, you get the nice backdrop image with one or two actors. But I mean, in general, that's why the need is for licensing metadata, and has been for the last decade. I mean,
okay.
that business is not new. It's
That's right.
more that it's been just standing quite still. I mean, the amount of assets available per
Yeah.
title have always stayed the same, and I don't think anybody have, except Netflix, have done any innovation in the area to try to at least populate the area with better content and better assets. So the product teams and the marketing teams can try to at least experiment with new ways of working. I mean,
Understood.
see, the industry can always talk about personalizing the movie posters, but when they actually going to execute it, do they have coverage for a library of 10,000 movies and then another 5,000 series? The answer has been 99% of the time, no. because
Understood.
the data is not normalized.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I mean, again, there is just so much of innovation that is still possible,
Yeah.
especially for something that is actually, in the known domain.
Mm,
How can you sort of maybe present a different look of that same
mm.
content that actually gets you to re-engage with that content, or retry that particular content, right? So,
Yeah.
talk a little bit about then some of the examples of the work that you've done, and you said you have a couple of demos for us as well. So maybe
Uh,
this could be a good time to sort of dive into that.
let's do it.
All
First of
right.
all, I want to also heads up. I'm apologizing. I'm looking down because that's where I have the screen where I see you and the actual presentation stuff.
I think our entire crowd
Um,
is Zoom trained post COVID. So
um,
yeah, we're
that's
all
good.
there.
You're used to it. Good.
Yes.
So, I mean, the foundation of everything we have by the end of the day is that is very important. Is we have two parts of it. That's one of those video embedding that we create that is quite unique. Our video embedding is 1,688 dimensions. And for anybody out there that is not familiar with the term embeddings when it comes to AI and machine learning, it's basically a high dimensional space with different coordinations where, I mean, you can cluster assets into clusters that have then, I would say, in our case, emotionally similar clusters of content. So here in front of you, I try to kind of we have tried to visualize those 1,688 dimensions into two dimensions, so we human beings can actually understand it, and that helps us to see if the model is doing a great job, if it's actually doing uh, reasonable clusters that actually make sense. So what you see here is basically all of the assets that the AI have seen. A little bit, we usually describe it as the mind map of the AI. It has all of the video embeddings in a two-dimensional space, and then we have kind of clustered it into emotionally similar clusters. So up here, as an example, we have a cluster, and of course, I have already, I'm very familiar with all of the clusters, and I've been navigating this a lot. But we can see that this is that's cluster of, I would say, underdog sports movies, like Rocky, The Warrior, I, Tonya, etc.
Hmm.
You can see down here, we have like two clusters. So we have on the left side, I call this the animation islands. On the right side, we have like 2D animations that you can see here. And on the left side of it, we have a little bit more teenage violent animations. Cool thing here, we have like the documentary island. So all of these are documentaries. And then if we kind of take the top of the documentary island, we can see all the music documentaries as an example.
Ah.
And funny enough, the other day I found this little cluster. I thought it was a very funny cluster. It's all like family dog movies. They look very, very similar to each other
Oh
as
my.
well.
Wow.
But so the video embedding is basically the DNA of the content. So we have the embedding for like long format and long form assets.
Hmm.
So no matter if it's 10 minutes or 2 hours, we can create the embedding. And we have that embedding down to a scene level, which is extremely important. So keep the video embedding in mind as the rest of the kind of demo that I show is also associated because the embedding is part of the when we create clips, when we create thumbnails and the tags, etc. So can you see when I switch to the new screen? You see
Yeah.
the new
Yes.
Skyfall? Great. So here in front of you see kind of our internal tool where we kind of can upload any assets we want and then kind of analyze them.
Hmm.
So a 2 hour, 20-minute movie like this, I think takes around like 20, 25 minutes to process for all the data points I'm going to show you now. And everything you see from here on is basically all extracted and generated from the video. So there's no manual work done here. There's no human beings being involved.
Wow.
So first
And,
of
and
all, yeah,
Arash, sorry, just one question was, once you upload a particular piece of content, how long does it take for the system to sort of analyze all of the dimensions that you talked about?
yeah. So the 2 hour, I think actually I said it wrong. So they usually say 1 hour takes around 20 minutes. I said
Oh,
2 hours takes 20 minutes, but 1 hour asset takes around 20 minutes. And
understood.
that's for all the data points I'm showing you.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you it's around like it's a lot of different areas. So then
Oh,
if you want to break it down to different components, that's definitely scaling down the amount of time it takes to process. But
Understood.
if we present everything I'm going to show you in this demo here right now, then it will take around 20 minutes.
Got it. Got it. Understood. And what we're able to sort of see from the screen is genre, mood, and then keywords, and a host of
So,
the other
I mean,
qualifications.
the basic stuff. So first
Right.
of all, what is most important, and in this case, I'm showing Skyfall, but like
Yeah.
you have the example of that the AI is describing the actual like asset back to you.
Hmm.
Now for Skyfall, that's a mainstream Hollywood movie. Uh, it's not as valuable because there's definitely going to be a synopsis there. But it's usually used for the actual synopsis that is written here is per episode. As the AI can watch the whole asset and then describe it back to you, and in a detail, like really creative. Actually, describes it like in this high-stakes spy thriller, James Bond returns from the shadows to find MI6 under siege. And the cool thing, which I'm going to show you, it's also picking up a lot on the emotions. It's telling you this is a kind of like with this breakneck neck action sequence, sophisticated style, and intense suspense. This movie is quintessentially a glamorized spy film that embodies the excitement and thrills. This
Very
is
nice.
coming from a lot of the emotional data,
Okay.
which I'm going to show you now before we move on to the rest of it. So the emotional data you see down here.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring the video up here. So down here you see the actual emotional data, and this is basically an old psychological model called valence, arousal, and dominance. So with these 3 dimensions, you can kind of map up the 8 basic human emotions: anger, fear, joy, disgust, etc.
Hmm.
So valence is positive and negative emotions. So the higher up it is, the more positive it is. The lower down it is, the more negative. So, or more emotional, I would say. Or when it's high up, it's very more joyful.
Okay.
Arousal is the stress levels. So the
Hmm.
higher up it is, the more stress in the scene.
Right.
Dominance is then showing basically how much you feel in control when you look at something. Do you feel big or do you feel small?
Okay.
With these 3 dimensions, then we translate that into the 8 basic emotions. So a scene here that we see super stressful, very negative. The basic emotion here is fear. So if I click it, we can see it's a sniper scene, typical action scene.
Hmm.
Bond, is he gonna die? Not gonna die? You know,
Right.
we all know. We all know he's not gonna die.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing of this, and we're gonna get further down the road and discuss that, but I think it's quite interesting because the emotional data plays such a big role when you want to understand scripted content like this.
Hmm.
So moving back to it, that emotional data then is used for a lot of different products, which I'm going to show you
Hmm.
down the road. So just like you said, now it's describing the content back to us with a synopsis. It's telling us what is the most spoken language. It's giving us all the kind of descriptive keywords, the genres, the moods, and the mood tags, but it's also giving us a relevancy score. So
Right.
it's not a confidence score. It's more how relevant the actual keyword is to it. So we know which keywords actually makes more sense.
Hmm.
And we can see here we're using the 3 different layers. So the video embedding, which would be then data from the video and the audio analysis. And then we have a separate layer for the transcripting to pick up things like character names, like James Bond or MI6 or CIA. That is, of course, coming from the actual transcript by the end of the day. So it's a combination of the video embedding and the transcript, so we can get very descriptive keywords. Then we have the actual mood tags coming from the video embeddings.
Got it. Fascinating.
Then, just to interrupt me as I'm going through, and also as I know you have much better track on the timeline than I have, so please let me know if there's
Sure thing. Sure
time.
thing. Well, I did have one question actually, Arash, on this one.
Yeah.
So, how do you process international content? Is that something that comes in automatically into this model, or do you have to do any creative changes
That's
to
a
the?
great question. I mean, I can show you this if we have some time over for some different assets, but the AI have been trained for a wide
Okay.
variety of content because, especially when we started working like with Hulu in Japan,
Right.
um, they had a lot of anime, and anime is extremely different from Western animations and Western content, and they had some Japanese content as well that is not animes,
Right.
uh, and we had to train the AI. We had to create a feedback loop for it to understand that as a different way. Same thing we actually did for content from the Middle East or for Bollywood content, because I mean as an example, Bollywood content can be extremely joyful in a drama and colorful, but
Right.
still reflect a certain dramatic emotion.
Yeah.
So to teach the AI to understand that, we had a feedback loop of labeling, of course, and retraining it to do that. So usually when we get into a new content area, we have a specific training method that we kind of utilize and repeat to be able to work with that content. So right now, I would say region-wise, we kind of, I would say, cover anything that would matter at the moment. Maybe there's corners of the world we haven't found yet. Uh, and the second thing, of course, is a lot of content is inspired by each other all over the world. I mean,
Understood.
there's a lot of content from the West that has been kind of inspiring the Middle East and vice versa.
Right, right. And then the other question, so that's great actually about the international piece. Although it does, I have lot of curiosity about some cultures which are extremely expressive and some that are less so.
Yeah.
And how how does the emotions come out with the engine that you showed? But the other question I had was about documentaries. Um,
Yeah.
my understanding then is that in the case of documentaries, your keyword data will be very rich, but the emotions don't really vary on a large spectrum,
Yeah.
right?
Correct. Correct. Correct.
So
And
how do
that's
you?
a
Mhm.
that's exactly a great question, because I mean documentaries is much more topic heavy. It's much
Yes,
more about what they're talking about and the facts rather than
and that's what
actually
I meant
the
with.
sentiment.
That's right. That's what I meant with very rich keywords, because the
Yeah.
keywords will be very sophisticated, and some very rich information will come out from there. But from an emotion perspective, it'll be pretty flat, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, not depending on the show. I mean, the documentary. If you look at Blackfish about SeaWorld, and the okras, extremely emotional. Music is very emotional. So it's all depending on the documentary, actually. The AI
Okay.
is super good at it because the transcripting layer is
Hmm.
just there to pick up, okay, it's about SeaWorld, it's about orcas, it's about dolphins, you know. Then you have the mood tags that is actually picking up if it's informative and educational or if it's actually very emotional or inspiring. So
Oh,
then you can actually generate and separate documentaries that are much more factual from documentaries that are actually much more emotional. And that's exactly what the tool is for, right? To be able to not put those two in the same bucket, that you can actually separate them from each other.
so then, from what I'm hearing you say, Arash, is that spoken word, music, and what's on screen, all three factors are considered to determine the emotion.
100%, 100%. And
Okay,
that's the way why I think filmmaking background is so important, right? You have to
that's
think like
right.
a director or a producer when they're designing and editing and making all of that, they have all those layers, working together in a symphony. They're
Right.
not just separate layers working by themselves. So you
Fascinating.
can't treat them separately from each other that way.
Understood. Understood. Okay. No, this is super useful. So then
Yeah.
I'm guessing that for sports, it could also have the applause. Same thing for stand up
Different
comedy.
game. I mean, the,
Right.
the the thing with sports is we always say that's a totally different beast.
Okay, okay.
And
Let's park sports for a second, so that we don't get into a rabbit hole. Let's talk about stand up,
yeah,
which is, a laugh track, audience reaction. I'm guessing that
yeah,
that all.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
100%. I mean, there it picks up that it's joyful, it's exciting. There's elements that are very similar to how we consume any other entertainment. So that it definitely works for. But when you
because
start going
again,
to, yeah,
yeah, sorry,
please.
I was just saying that, again, in a stand up, there's nothing major happening on the screen, and yet the entire engagement of that the audience may experience is largely could be detected, I guess, from keywords and then reactions and claps and laughs, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the same thing as the soundtrack or the sound effects or the music. It's all there to
Okay,
add certain value for us to react to, right? It's part
right.
of that's why you do stand up in front of audience. It would be very boring without the
That's
clapping
right.
and the people laughing, right?
That's right. That's right.
And
No, but this is super useful. So sorry, I interrupted
no,
your
no, no.
your flow on
I
the
love
demo.
rabbit holes. I love rabbit holes. I mean, I can dig into those areas for hours, but
All right.
just moving on. Same thing that I showed you there in the embedding space and the, mind map. The AI is very good at clustering content in emotionally similar clusters.
Ah,
And there connects that basically in your library, it finds everything else that is similar to it emotionally.
those are great
So
results, by the way. I mean, is that
thanks.
how do you call it? Oh, this is those are similar titles. Okay.
Yeah, these are similar titles from like a demo library we have of around 3,000 assets, I think.
Okay.
So it's finding all out of all of those 3,000 assets, it's trying to find things that are similar to it.
And
And
I
I
guess
mean, all of
the
this,
challenge,
yeah,
for a lot of the services is to surface some of these similar, especially you talked about recommendations and personalization.
yeah, yeah.
And, if you are able to then even surface results that are unexpected, especially from different cultures, but still true to the same theme.
Exactly the point, right? I mean, especially when you're doing libraries that are that diverse from each other. You want people that are consuming. And I think Netflix have been amazing at this, right? Look at how
Yes.
many Indian movies people are consuming or how many Korean movies people are consuming globally right now,
Yes.
thanks to their recommendations. Because they know the users in, the Western world now, and they know how to actually get them to consume content outside their comfort zone. And this
Yes.
is, I think, the key to unlock, the investments you're doing in content, which is expensive.
That's right. That's right. So this is super useful to at least understand the recommendations piece. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So all of this I showed you, all of this from top to down is one API call. So that all of this you get in one straight API call.
Interesting.
Moving forward without stealing too much time of you, because I have so much cool stuff to show,
Okay. All
is
right.
that if we look here, the AI is, we have trained the AI to understand what is an aesthetically nice image. So the AI is super good at generating thumbnails that are, aesthetically nice that you can use for the user experience or marketing. And we have several layers doing things there, like the AI is looking at mouth status, eye status, brisk
Mm,
level, which is like stillness levels, blurriness basically for the character, so it's not blurry.
mm.
And it's been trained. Like I really love how the AI is almost feels sometimes like a photographer standing there and waiting for the perfect picture. You can
Wow.
see like M here in James Bond. It looks like she's, getting instructions for the photographer to look on the right side now. I'm gonna take a picture.
Right.
Then the AI have character tracking, so which means that it knows the position of the character, so I can choose I want the character on the right side, in the middle, left. I can set that I want the close up to be medium, large, and of course, if it's burned in subtitles, exclude
Mm,
that. So I have all these filters and parameters, so I can set and kind of say, this is the recipe I want for my type of thumbnails.
right.
Now do that for 10,000 assets or 1,000 assets. Then I have the character tracking, so I can easily choose. So the AI knows Daniel Craig is the main character, and Javier, I don't remember his last name. Javier is the villain playing
Right.
the character. He knows that he has third most screen time out of it. So this is the hierarchy basically showing character screen times. That
Mm,
means I can very easily find very nice thumbnails with not just Daniel Craig. I can just now, as you can see, I choose Javier's face, then I do a filtering. Now the AI is going through all of the frames and
right.
then starting to extract those actual frames for me. Uh, so if you give it a second here, it's going to start loading. There you see. So now I have all the really nice images with Javier in them as well.
Mm,
And I can very easily also, of course, choose that I want the images with Javier and Daniel Craig.
mm,
And there I get the character information because the character position is important because now I can automize and add like the Skyfall logo here on the left without putting it on the actors. So
right.
you get, like you can see, position middle. You said the other one, position right.
Right.
So this is a scalable way of, for the creatives to, expand the amount of assets they have so they can get thumbnails with every actor in a movie and making sure they're nice and looking cool.
Wow.
Another part of that is important is being able to generate really nice clips. So I'm not sure. Can you hear the audio on your side when I play the video?
No. No.
Oh, that's okay. I'll play the video in the background and I explain it to you. So what the AI is doing here is that it's finding and using the video embedding to find the most relevant segments. So the AI knows overall what James Bond Skyfall is about. It knows it's a spy movie, basically, because their fingerprint is telling it that, and it's clustered like that. So we have that video embedding for every single scene. So overall, the AI is looking for scenes that then are relevant for Bond. So here in the background I'm playing now is a suspenseful scene where they're being hacked. They're just figuring out, oh, we just got hacked. Then super stressful music starts playing and he starts running and trying to find the people trying to hack them.
Okay.
And we can see below the video, you have like some tags, control room, command center, which is the environment.
Hmm.
Then you have like technology, surveillance, espionage,
Hmm.
high security, etc., describing the actual what's going on in the scene and what's there.
Hmm.
And then you have the emotions, thrilling, suspenseful, and tense.
Right.
So why is that useful? I will show you that very shortly when we start discussing personalization and recommendation,
Okay.
because there's a huge problem in the industry with the cold start problem to get to
Right.
know the users before they start consuming. Uh, and I mean,
Okay.
if you look at it from a streaming perspective, instead of having people consuming several hours of movies to understand that they like suspenseful and tense, espionage scenes about spy movies, we now have the information and data for every clip. So for James Bond, as an example, one consumer, we push for them this specific scene. For another consumer, maybe we want to then filter out all the heartfelt scenes, which is more
Ah,
romantic scenes
wow.
or scenes that are more, emotional.
Wow.
So then we can start personalizing not just on character, because we still have the character data here, as you can see on the thumbnails as well. But then we can, as you can see here, now I filtered out all the typical Bond scenes, he's
Hmm.
flirting in a bar, ordering the martini, it's all the
Right.
classics.
Right.
And
Right.
here we
Right.
get it, like environment, casino, a
Hmm.
romantic setting, mood tags, temptation, witty, lust,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So the information down to the scene level becomes suddenly very important, because now we can chop down this 2-hour movie and start marketing it to different people and packaging it with different packages for different people to get them to engage with it.
Right. 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 Fascinating.
Now, I don't know how much more time we have, but I thought I'd show you like all of these use cases now. If we take them and kind of want to package them, I wanted to kind of show people how that would look if we kind of get into a streaming service. So
Yeah.
everything you see in this view here
Hmm.
is our AI that has generated. So I have connected this to our APIs, and
Hmm.
I basically wanted to create a Netflix type of experience
Right.
without any third-party API, just from the video files, analyzing it, extracting the info. So the whole here section here, all these kind of short clips that are playing is the AI, the description, the tags, the mood tags. Then we
Ah.
go down here, all of these thumbnails you see. Every single thumbnail is the AI that has chosen it. It's the most
Wow.
relevant thumbnails for these movies.
Even the grouping,
Skyfall,
even the groupings like historical and heroic tales
yeah,
or
yeah, that's the
high
AI.
octane action. That's yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so the AI categorized all of this and kind of figure out, okay, these are the most similar movies, not the similar movies, sorry, these are the movies that are fitting into historical and heroic tales. These are
Right.
the ones that fit into high octane action. And
Hmm.
whenever I add a new asset to my library, the AI then categorizes that into the right categories automatically as well.
Fascinating. Fascinating. And the clips that it's chosen, they seem really nicely synchronized.
Mm.
That is so.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing as well. I mean, the AI has scene boundary detection, so it makes sure it starts in a good place and ends in a good place as well.
Got it. Interesting. And then the one other question which I had was for you to sort of have very high quality and high resolution sort of clips and imagery, how should the source video file be provided to Vion
That's a
Labs?
great question. I mean, the source should always be the outcome that you want. So if you wanted to have the assets in 4K, you have to provide it in 4K, because we
Okay.
don't do any upscaling. As of all the technologies I've seen so far with upscaling, there's definitely hallucinations. There's a lot of like small things that
Aberration.
become wrong,
That's
especially
right.
hands, eyes,
Yeah.
small things that you don't want when you're doing thumbnails, as example.
Right. Right.
We humans have a really good eye to see if Brad Pitt's eyebrow is a couple of pixels wrong. We
That's
notice
right.
these
That's right.
details.
That's right. So essentially, let's say there is a streamer that just acquired a library from another distributor.
Mm.
Essentially, and if Beyond Labs is already working with that streamer, then what happens? You get access to the folders that has the raw
No,
file.
we install our software is running on their own servers.
Okay.
So we install our software on their servers, so their video files is never uploaded anywhere or moved from their
Okay.
service. So everything
Okay.
is processed on-prem, which
Okay.
is of course for copyright and IP uh, issues. And no matter if you're a streaming service or a studio that is actually producing your own content, you
Right.
are usually still in a big need of this.
Right.
So
Right.
we process it on-prem. You use your own internal IDs to
Hmm.
ingest the content, which means also you use your own internal IDs to fetch the content, which
Right.
also solves a lot of this issue that a lot of companies have dependencies on third-party IDs, like
Yes.
IMDb IDs or things
Yes.
like that.
Right, right. Understood. Understood. This is fascinating. And then, so you have access to the. So sorry, you are already embedded as part of their solution
Mm.
in on prem. So you have
Yeah,
access to some of those files as they as that content gets acquired. You generate a lot of this, clips, imagery, metadata, mood information, and then the places to consume it will be promos, posters, trailers, exciting clips, recommendations, personalization, marketing collateral, digital media. I mean, like then.
definitely.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about the consumption piece, right? You mentioned about the API,
Mm.
right? Are you feeding into a recommendation engine? Do you have your own recommendation engine?
I mean,
Personalization? Yeah.
we work with most recommendation engines. So a lot of the big recommendation engines out there is implementing our data and then
Okay.
feeding it into it, because recommendation engines are all depending on the foundational data in, right?
Yes.
If we said ship data in, ship data out.
Right.
So by the end of the day, they have to feed the engine with good, rich data. If all assets are, tagged as comedies or drama, like
Mhm.
drama is extremely wide. Game of Thrones is a drama, and uh, I don't know. Now I draw a blank. There's other. I mean, drama is extremely wide genre in general, so you want to be able to kind of narrow that down. So there's definitely that problem to be solved.
Fascinating.
Mm.
So you're almost like the layer that interprets the video, audio, scene, and then essentially it can be packaged into a host of different elements, uh,
Exactly.
data files, and so on. You sort of going to show us a couple of other demos as well. So maybe this could be a good time to sort of rush
Yeah.
to get into that.
Yeah, yeah, if you allow me, of course.
Please, please.
So, I mean, there's definitely a part I was going to show you with some search queries. So you can do a scenes search. So, as example, if we want to find this specific scene in the top here,
Hmm.
we can do a simple search query if we want to. So, in this case here, like this is, if I look at the scene, I would say like, I don't know how to describe it. It's a gun standoff. Let's see. I'm having too many tabs open. Oops. I'm running out of RAM.
Oops.
This is the Google Chrome problem.
Yes,
I should
yes.
have bought it. So let's see here. Gun stand off in the desert.
Huh.
So what I'm doing basically is I'm trying to describe the environment and then whatever I see. And I can very easily find that. And that's especially for marketing people. They want to be able to find specific scenes for specific purposes. They can do that very, very easily.
Okay.
So that's another way of doing actual video processing. Now, while that's loading, we'll give it a second. Yeah, actually, while that's loading, I can show you below here, just below it. we actually can detect the actual intro of TV series, TV shows, movies,
Hmm.
and also the credits and the recap. So James Bond usually have an intro, as you know.
That's right. That's right.
Always a very famous intro. So we can see the intro, but the Bond is starting here.
Right.
And then we have the end of the actual intro. Then we have the actual credits
Hmm.
detection, so we know where the movie ends. And
Hmm.
this is usually utilized for, when you skip to next episode, in the credits, or you want to skip the intros because you're watching 10 episodes in a row.
Yeah. I'm guessing they can do songs for Bollywood. Every time the song
Yeah,
starts.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
that's
Now
right.
you can see here, sorry for the delay a little bit, but here you can see now it found the scene that I was looking for.
Hmm.
So very easily, and then you see the same thing here, right? You see the
Right.
actual description, and it's not just giving me specifically that scene; it's finding a very suspenseful part of that scene, as you can see,
Right. Right.
uh, because it has that relevancy score. It's still utilizing that, as you can see here.
Yes.
Now, I'm not going to spoil the movie, so we're going to move on.
Okay. All right.
Then another super interesting thing is that we do have ad breaks, so we are detecting, especially like when you look at unscripted content. Like if I zoom in here and I click just before this, so you can see these little purple lines.
Right.
Those are basically where the AI is telling us it's a good place to insert an ad break. And
Oh.
you can see you have 4 different ranks. So the
Hmm.
AI is basically giving us a quality level. So it's telling us if it's a rank 1, it's a perfect place for an ad break.
Right.
So you can see we have a couple of rank 1s, then you have rank 2 and rank 3. So when it's a rank 1, it's a perfect one. When it's a rank 3, it's still good, but the AI has 4 different networks that are kind of looking at the visuals, listening to the dialogue to see, is this a good place?
Right.
Is nobody's talking? It's not in the middle of the scene has ended. If only a few of the networks are agreeing, then it gets like a rank 3. If all of
Wow.
the networks are agreeing, it gets a rank 1. So we can see here on the bottom right side, you see rank 1 coming up in 4 seconds. So like 3, 2, 1. See the
Ah.
scene totally changed. It changed the environment, color palettes changed. They stopped talking. There's no music going from the first scene to the second scene. So the AI detects, especially for content that is not designed for broadcasting, because broadcasting is easy because that you have almost like when they produce the content, they put places to like sitcoms. You have a design place where the ad should come in.
Yes. Yeah.
When it's content produced for streaming, then it's not produced that way. So it's
Yes.
just a story being told from the beginning to the end. There,
That's
the
right.
AI comes in and helps you find really good positions and gives you the mood tags. You saw I showed you the scene level data for each clip, right? So we know
Yeah.
that the scene going up here into this would be suspenseful, it would be thrilling, or it would have, you know, um, a joyful moment or a happy moment. So you know both the theme and the emotional mood. And also, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, the IAB taxonomy, which is a taxonomy for automizing advertisement sales for like
Right.
Google Ad servers and everybody else. We have all those 3 categories matched up with the ad break. So you can very easily know, okay, the scene going up is very happy and joyful with a family having a family dinner. Let's match the advertisement with that. Or if
Fast.
there's a car accident happening, let's make sure that we don't, by the end of the day, add a Nissan commercial or a Volvo commercial together with the car accident.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
there's a lot of values that you can bring out from having that scene level data and then combining that with the perfect place to insert the ads, because the experience for the user becomes better, the ad experience becomes better, and you have a less chance of having users having a bad ad experience, which is the main reason they leave a AVOD service.
Right. Right. Fascinating.
Like,
That's right. That's right. And again, I mean, I think it's so crucial to sort of put the ad exactly where it's not breaking the middle of the scene. I've seen a few services do that, and you just absolutely hate that experience. So
I
yeah,
mean, it's
this is
horrible.
yeah. Yeah.
especially when they do it like they don't just interrupt you in the middle of the scene. You get to see the same orange juice commercial 7 times through the
Hmm.
same movie.
Right.
Or they repeat the same thing, or they just match suddenly a very loud colorful commercial
Yeah.
with a very sad dark moment. Like
Yeah.
what's the first thing you do? You reach for the control to lower the volume
That's right.
because it's disturbing you. So I think giving that experience, and we did a survey in the US actually around this with 3,500 users. I'm more
Uh-huh.
than happy to share that with you and the
That'd
listeners
be great.
afterwards. The survey was very clear that that's one of the main reasons people leave a AVOD service is because of a very bad ad experience. They're not leaving because of the content, because they have so much content usually in AVOD. There's plenty to
Right.
watch. Maybe the quality is not like Netflix Premium,
Hmm.
but I mean you can find enough on YouTube. But when you get sick of YouTube and turn it off, it's most likely because you've seen that same ad too many times. It's been like suddenly, especially I don't know if you noticed, like in the Joe Rogan podcast, he just put it in the middle of his sentence. I mean, just in the middle of a very important sentence, here comes the commercial break. What?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this to your
Right.
users?
That's right. That's right. Yep. Yep. I've seen that. Um, Fascinating. And then, you know, what was fascinating to me was, just the number of places where this information and intel and data can output into.
Yeah.
So we talked about marketing, we talked about promotions, we talked about, even recommendation
Mm.
engines. And now you've actually, this last segment, you've actually sort of
Mm.
talked about the placement of ads.
Yeah.
So my question, Arash, to you is, who do you sell to? I mean, if you're targeting a streamer, uh, who within that streamer sort of leadership are you pitching to?
Oh. I mean, everywhere from the product teams, usually that are working with the user experience. There's
Okay.
always a metadata team working with, the content management system and the metadata.
Yep.
Definitely the marketing teams. And usually we have a separate team that is the media operations.
Hmm.
So the media operations are usually people doing the intros, the recaps, the credit markers, the ad break markers. Uh, the metadata team is responsible for giving the ads team that works with sales of advertisement foundational data
Right.
so they can do better ads packages.
Okay.
Uh, so the media operations team, definitely the product teams, which goes everywhere, of course, when you're working with product,
Yeah.
UI, UX, metadata up to CTO. Uh,
Understood.
but
And
marketing teams, they're usually a little bit more independent by themselves. They're not as depending as the other ones. They work with a lot of separate tools, third-party tools,
that's right.
while the other ones need to kind of build this into their workflow.
Understood. And my guess is that in a lot of these cases, you are not replacing a system, but you're replacing a set of you're just essentially making things
Mm.
more intuitive and faster and more efficient
Definitely,
from a productivity
definitely.
perspective. Right.
I think in every single installation we have done is more that this is extremely complementary to what the things people are doing. So rarely they need to change from a tool they're working to something else, or change anything that they're kind of used to already and built a habit with. It's rather just populating everything that they're already working with more and better quality data. And that's
Un-
been very important for us because it's extremely important to kind of try to adapt to people's workflows that they have invested already so much time in.
Understood. Understood. So let's talk a little bit about, I don't know if you had any other demos to share, but I have a few otr questions
Oh
relating
yeah,
to the company.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You go, please.
Okay. So the question I had was relating to, actually two questions. One is there a recent relationship with a streamer that you want to talk about, that you can talk about? I think that'd be great to understand any successful case study. And the second one is really a little bit about the roadmap that Vion Labs has. Is it now, you say, oh, you know what, the system's now really strong and now it's
Mm,
all focused on sales for
mm.
Vion Labs? Or are there certain big ticket items that you're still developing that the
No,
team
no,
is?
no.
Uh-huh.
We're focusing very, very strongly on continuously improving the products we have.
Okay.
We are very careful with going into, like you said, sports or a whole new area without done our homework or without making sure that all of our other products keep extremely high accuracy, because that's what I think is making a domain specific model unique and important, is that it's already an expert in the area. So
Mhm.
we definitely see all the time new things we want to improve, new things that we built up. Like we are definitely discussing several new data layers for the thumbnails and the
Mm.
clips that can be better used everywhere from like celebrity detection to brand recognition to recognize the brands.
Ah.
But we prioritize all of this, of course, after use cases. Like, are our clients going to actually use it? Is there Do they have the ability to use the data tomorrow, or are they able to actually use this data in 12 months because they need to implement a couple of other workflow tools to get there? So
Interesting.
we do our prioritization a little bit after that, but it's a lot of focus on continuously improving the models we have, which is important, and especially the application layer, making it easy for our customers to access the data, not just being an API, but
Mhm.
also giving them somewhere to play with the data, to look at the data,
Okay.
uh, change the different parameters and look at the results. I think that's extremely important as well.
That's an exciting use cases that we hadn't talked about. So, but
Mm,
thanks for mentioning that, because brand detection, object detection, has a lot of e-commerce
mm,
and advertising and promotion related sort of use cases. So that's an interesting angle actually, which
mm,
it just struck me that, yeah, that
mm.
opens up a complete different new sort of
Yeah, yeah.
area, right? So, Raghav,
That's a whole nother 1 hour podcast.
yes, yes. No, I think that I love that actually. I think I have a earlier background in advertising, and I love some
Mm,
of the use cases that actually make brand promotion also just very complementary to
I agree. I agree.
these solutions. Um, one aspect that we didn't talk about, Arash, is about the operationalizing of Vion Labs inside, let's say, a
Mm,
new streamer. So let's say a
mm,
streamer and you sort of do a handshake. You guys are now in a deal
mm,
together. They need a lot of these solutions to improve their marketing, their collateral, their recommendations,
mm.
their metadata, right, and their ad
Yeah.
placement. How soon can you guys go live inside that environment?
Implementation can go as quickly as a week or two, depending on the resources they're putting, but the kind of process is quite straightforward. As we're deploying our software within their premises, no matter if it's AWS or Google or any other service they use, we're getting a little bit technical is that we run together with them a Terraform script that we have packaged for them that spins up everything they need.
Okay.
And after that, we basically do, a quick fire test to see that, yeah, they can ingest the assets, they can get the assets and results back. And if that works well, we're up and running and then doing a lot of batches and
Understood.
bigger batches. So it's a little bit depending, but I also seen, some deployments that take more than 2 weeks. It's all
Yes.
depending a little bit on their workflows, their security levels they have, and so on.
Understood.
But it goes usually very fast.
Understood. Understood. So what's next for Vion Labs? I mean, you talked a little bit about this
Oh.
continuous product improvements. In terms of your focus markets, is it largely the US? What other markets are you sort of keen to break into?
We are definitely biggest in the US right now, even though that we're a Swedish company.
Okay.
That's our biggest market, and we have our biggest clients. We starting to become big in Asia as we entered Japan. Um, so we're kind of doing a big move into Asia, a
Uh,
little bit into the Middle East. Europe, we've been always quite big in as well. But usually we've done business mostly in Europe and North America, but now we're still a company of 28, 29 people. So we're slowly trying to expand to areas so we can handle them. And we do a lot of partnerships so we can kind of expand into new areas if needed. We're very tech and engineering heavy company and
okay.
product heavy company.
Got it.
Uh, so yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So essentially, what's next is continuous product development, but on the other side, expansion into, you mentioned Japan, Middle East, besides US and Europe. Is that? that sum up?
I would say more Asia than just Japan. So all of Asia we're trying to get into.
Understood. Understood. And the target is still essentially telcos, streamers, and do you folks work with device companies as well? I know fast channels is a
Uh,
big.
I mean, Samsung, LG, if you would take those type of brands as well, definitely we would like to work with those.
Okay,
So as I say, are you sitting on a big video library? You most likely gonna need our technology in one way or another.
fascinating, fascinating.
Yeah, fast
Um,
channels, as you say, also extremely big need of this.
and those some of the use cases that you talked about, right? I mean, where to place the ad,
Yeah.
and then also detecting the credits and detecting
Mm.
the start, the recaps, all of that those aspects, and then also for a large sort of device company like Samsung, the question really would be recommendation, saying if you are interested in this content, what else could you perhaps indulge in?
There's so many areas for them. But yeah, that's definitely an area. But I see also a lot of other areas for Samsung and the other ones too. Uh, I mean, they're trying to become an aggregator, right? So they're
Right.
trying to aggregate everybody's content, and that becomes even more important by the end of the day to have good knowledge of assets and data. 'Cause now
Understood.
suddenly you're handling a much bigger library,
That's right.
including their own services. They have their own VOD services, AVOD services, and so on as well. That
That's right.
definitely need the competitive edge.
Fantastic, fantastic. Arash, this was very exciting. I mean, again, you tell a great story. You also
Mhm.
that demo was super useful. It was very energizing to
Thank you.
understand exactly how the system works. Also, why you folks have been in the news. Again,
Mhm.
we got multiple recommendations to actually feature you on our podcast.
Really
Uh,
appreciate it.
Thank you so much for making the time and giving us a great demo. Again, usually what happens is that we start getting a lot of requests for introductions
Yeah.
to the company. We will be sure to pass along all the folks who are interested in understanding
Oh,
our system. Yeah,
I really appreciate that. Thank you
absolutely.
everybody for taking time and listening to our story.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thanks so much, Arash.
Thank you so much.